Hi and welcome to Indigo Starfire. My name is Bevin, and in this video I'm going to be doing some love notes from your person. This is going to be a message cards only reading, and there are 3 groups to choose from. Group 1 is the Amethyst. Group 2 is the Candle Quartz. And group 3 is the Aragonite. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups, or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps in the description box of the video for each group if you'd like to jump ahead. And up next is a close-up photo of the crystals to help you better make your selection. Hi, Group 1. You chose the Amethyst. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? Okay, so we have I love you. So it feels like this person is thinking a lot of happy thoughts about you at this time, reminiscing on times that you have spent with one another in the past that may be helping them to kind of keep afloat during sort of some heaviness or maybe some difficult decisions that they may need to make soon in their life, that will enable them to kind of take steps forward into a new chapter for themselves, and may also be kind of a motivating factor to free themselves from certain situations internally or externally that have been kind of prohibitions to moving forward with you and with this connection. It's a sense of love conquers in this circumstance. You're worth fighting for. This connection is worth fighting for, not wanting to miss an opportunity to be with you, or if you are in separation, not in contact at this point in time, this can even indicate that this person is kind of gearing up to break the ice and to try and work towards reconciliation with you. We also have be the best that you can be. So self-improvement, personal growth may be at the forefront of their focus at this particular point in time. It's a sense of wanting you to be proud of the person that they have become or are actively striving to become. So this can involve kind of taking an inventory of their weaknesses, limiting belief systems, patterns of behavior, wounds, inner childhood wounds, or wounds from past romantic connections that had either caused them to sort of close their heart off to you in this situation, or might have even been something that, proved to be like an interference or something that created sort of hurt and dismay in the situation in the past. And there's a sense of actively looking at these things, acknowledging these things, trying to own where they have fallen short in this circumstance in the past, so that they are able to be better, provide better, do better, make more of an effort to kind of actively and constantly sort of work with whatever their circumstances are internally or externally to strive to kind of accept where they are at, but always push for more. This is also an indicator of wanting to provide you, it feels like, with a different experience of love and romance than you have had previously, which it feels like is a factor as well in kind of this moral inventory, or an inventory of their circumstances at this particular point in time. Like, what about the life that they are living is not conducive to kind of, making like a good circumstance for the two of you to build with one another, to, create kind of that safe space, that sanctuary where the highest potential of this connection can bloom in the future. Clearing things away, making better choices, cutting certain things things off that have been distractions or sources of toxicity, so that when they take a next step towards you or reach out to try and make amends, that it's not just the same environment, the same circumstances that had kind of clouded what was possible between the two of you in the past, or has proved to be a limit up to this point in time. But it's almost a sense of wanting to invite you in closer because they have sought to kind of make more of a hospitable space out of themselves or out of their life in general, where the fullest potential of this connection has the opportunity to thrive. And we also have, you are my twin flame. So they may resonate with you as their soulmate, as their twin flame, having done research about this, or feeling very, very compelled to you, deeply magnetized in a way that surpasses all other connections. They may have been in a process of kind of disentangling themselves from belief systems that, like, love needed to be something passionate, but that passion involved kind of like conflict, or maybe things related to like programming from their childhood, or the environment that they grew up in, things they were subconsciously kind of drawn towards or attracted to, that it feels like even in the early stages of the connection with one another, that your circumstance with them proved to be the opposite of that, or very different from that. That might have made them sort of skeptical, questioning. It could have felt very uncertain or frightening to them at different points in time, because it didn't resonate with a sense of like normal, what they were used to, kind of what the woundedness within would sort of gravitate toward, or what they've kind of cultivated for themselves in their life in terms of particular types of partners, or a familiar narrative that's played out in like other romances. It feels like they've been with people in their past that only sort of supported and endorsed a wounded version of them. Anytime they tried to heal or grow, they'd get a lot of pushback from partners who wanted to sort of bring out the triggering or keep them at that sort of level of like a certain volume in which they were evolved as a consciousness. And with you, it feels like there's been an encouragement to kind of expand, to explore, to really kind of do whatever's necessary in order to embody that best version of self, and that you demonstrate that you kind of actively keep pace with that, or you've moved in tandem with one another through that process, where they're really seeing that like a connection with you serves not just the present version of them, but really is something that helps to kind of invest in the future of where they can envision themselves or their life kind of developing into in the years to come. So it's very like forward thinking at this point in time as far as you and this circumstance is concerned. They've kind of surrendered to the reality that this is not like any other connection that they have known in the best possible way, and it's something rare, it's something real, it's something very extraordinary, and worth doing whatever it takes in order to make this more of a permanent situation between the two of you. They also say we are mirroring each other. So you may have been picking up a lot on their energy and vice versa. It feels like if there's been any heaviness or, kind of difficulties that you've been facing emotionally or actually, it feels like this person has kind of been there with you, sort of holding your hand energetically. If they haven't been able to be in your life physically, or, you're not like speaking to them at this point in time, it's almost like at a soul level, you've heard some sort of distress signal within one another, and you've been companions through the heaviness, through any kind of darkness, anything as far as milestones or achievements or, things that are on the upswing for you. It feels that this joy, this sense of accomplishment and satisfaction has been picked up and registered by this person, and it may have also really helped them to motivate to kind of push through any difficulties they may be facing, to really just kind of have belief that things will get better, the storms will pass, and kind of there will be an opportunity to grow in a new direction, or move back into an alignment with an energy of thriving. So, anything that you may feel as far as acceptance about the situation, hopefulness about what the future can hold between the two of you, or even if you're kind of in a circumstance where you're actively in the space of detachment, you're very accepting of the situation, you have some idea of what you would like to happen or what could happen, but there's not like a fixation or an obsession that once maybe was, as far as like, this is the intended outcome in this circumstance. Very much like going with the flow, and taking the opportunity to kind of just focus on self, but also maybe become more expansive as far as your idea or envisioning of kind of like what the future might hold between the two of you. It feels that this person has also kind of reached that place within where they're not letting the fear win, or they've not kind of created so much of a fence around their heart, so many kind of conditions by which this circumstance or what they're feeling must be vetted out. There's more of like an openness, more of an acceptance that you have come into one another's lives for a very particular reason, and there's more, it feels like, enthusiasm than there was previously or in your last kind of chapter of your circumstance with one another about this situation being salvageable or continuing to develop and grow with you, that being something which is in alignment with their highest good. We also have be patient with me, my love. So again, deep changes that may be going on, changes in terms of their perspective, their belief systems, some things they may be working through emotionally, or even circumstances in their material world that could be prohibiting them from just kind of dropping everything and running to you at this particular point in time. There's a deep desire to align with you, but in the right way. And understanding that there may need to be kind of changes that take place, changes in lifestyle, changes in kind of where you're living or what it is that you're doing, or even just kind of feelings that they have held within there. There's a need to kind of open up and express that in a clear and direct manner. And they're very aware of that almost like the ball's in their court in as far as like what comes next within the circumstance. But it feels like for every sort of fear that they vanquish within, it's one step closer to that place of full disclosure where they can be very open about sort of like, this is what they are intending for the future. This is what they have to offer currently. These are sort of the things that maybe were misaligned between the two of you in the past, and the ways in which they have worked on those things in order to really co-create with one another what the next step is in terms of your phase of growth with one another. You also say, I can't stop spying on you. So they may be watching your social media, looking at pictures, looking at old texts or emails, thinking back, nostalgic about memories that you've shared, past conversations or interactions, kind of precious details that at one point in time might have just been, they took those things for granted. And especially if you're in a no contact situation with one another, you're at a separation, you're at a distance, all they have are these memories at this particular point in time. And so it feels like they're rolling back through almost like a series of home movies that are kind of the recollection of time spent with you. And it's building the sense of desire of like, I don't want this circumstance to just be something archived within my past. I would like to make the effort to try and build with you from this point so that we can secure a future with one another, so that we can grow and develop as a team. And so it feels like they're being very proactive in terms of evolving beyond the version of them that you were dealing with recently or previously, like any toxicity within. They're actively trying to step into more of that evolved state within themselves. They're recognizing your efforts to kind of heal, to sort of move on from the situation if you're at a distance from one another, or if you're still in contact with one another, kind of the changes and evolutions that have taken place within you concurrent to your interactions with one another, but things that are very self-focused. Like you're not changing for the benefit of this person, you're just actively invested in yourself. You're demonstrating to them what healthy love looks like, healthy love for self, and how that can then be exchanged in a reciprocal and yet not an over-giving manner. And so it feels like they're definitely sort of taking note of that, and it's really giving them kind of a level of illumination within, where they're able to look at themselves and how they've shown up in other relationships from a different angle, from a different lens, releasing kind of heaviness or dissonance or disappointment, views of self that might have been kind of based on lack, and they're instead kind of like rebuilding the ego, maybe after like dark night of the soul, or just anything where they needed to kind of evolve or expand into more of a balanced version of themselves. All of this is something it feels like they're trying to grow in tandem with you. They're trying to keep pace. They're trying not to be left behind. They're doing this kind of work for themselves, but it's definitely with kind of you as the incentive, or this relationship, or the possibility of like reinserting themselves in your life is encouraging them to keep the pace and to continue to be sort of proactive with whatever it is that they need to kind of work on within themselves in their own life at this time. They also say, you make me so happy, I can't wipe the smile off my face. So again, a lot of happy thoughts that are surrounding you, directed towards you. It feels like this person is sending you love from afar. They may be reaching out telepathically, almost trying to like speak to you through their heart space, hoping that you will hear them. They may be somebody who has noted a lot of synchronicity, signs and synchronicities. And so there almost feels to be something where that are related to you in this connection, and so they're replying in the sense of almost like messaging you through that kind of internal dialogue from the heart space. They see something that reminds them of you, and in the past that might have been, where they just kind of turned a blind eye to it, or it could be very triggering. It feels like they're responding to these things now almost just with this wave of kind of like, I love you. I'm so grateful that you are still a relevant part of my life, even if we are at a distance from one another. Or if this is someone you're currently interacting with, it feels like a lot of signs and synchronicities are the universe's way of giving them the green light to continue to move towards the point where they can be more open with you about their feelings, where they can kind of work with you to sort of take the next steps to develop in this situation into, the next kind of phase of whatever, will occur or is possible between the two of you. They also say, you inspire me so much, I want to create beautiful things with you. So you are this person's muse. You are this person's motivation on their most difficult days. They look to you as kind of a leader in love, somebody that leads from the heart space with that heart light shining bright. And it's something that it feels like it encourages them. Maybe they were at a point when they met you of kind of hardening their heart or closing off to the idea of love, maybe just feeling that they would never find the one, or that they'd kind of just settled into sort of mediocre situations where there may have been like romance and affection, but nobody really understood them as a person. Nobody really kind of resonated with them at a core level. And then you came along, and it feels like it has changed everything for them as far as like their ideas of what are possible, their willingness to kind of go deeper into the kind of shadow work or self-evaluation, or anything that they've needed to do as far as, kind of reaching out, getting help in other sorts of ways, any kind of like active changes that they need to make to kind of improve the quality of the life that they are living. It's all motivated to kind of keep pace with what you are demonstrating as far as, you're focusing on yourself, you're focusing on your goals, you're focusing on kind of making the most of your time on this earth. And it feels like it has helped to really change this person's perspective on the way in which they were living their life. And there's a deep desire to align with you, to continue to evolve with you, and grow with you through the years. They also say, I have an insatiable desire for you. I crave you. I want to seduce you and caress your body all over. So you may be, again, getting a lot of kind of loving vibes, loving feelings coming from them. A lot of kundalini energy exchanged back and forth across the ethers, or, if you're in contact with this person, especially if it's direct face-to-face contact, there may be something with even like the eye contact between the two of you is lighting up every chakra. Something where there's a deep resonance, a deep alignment on a spiritual level, and it feels like this energy of wanting to like hold you close, or like claim you as their own, or to be able to kind of provide you with a different level of like care and attention and appreciation than you've known in love and romance up to this point in time. It's motivated by this deep magnetic pull, energetically speaking, that is incentivizing them to be very kind of diligent and open and honest with themselves as far as things that they maybe have known they've needed to work on, or they were working on in their lives, and then you came in and kind of just gave them that extra burst of enthusiasm. There's a desire to kind of fulfill your needs on all levels, because they see you as somebody who has the deep potential to do that for them. Or if you're already in like a connection with one another, or you're still in connection with one another, it's the sense of like, you already have fulfilled them in a deeper way than they have known was possible before. And so they're wanting to kind of do everything that they can in order to reciprocate that with you. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got H, U, B, U, P, K, F, E, R, S, T, A, I, R, and G. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. Chose the candle quartz. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? Okay, we have listen to your heart over what others say. So this person may be actively creating boundaries with people in their life, either that have given them bad advice about how to handle the situation with you or the connection, people that might have been sort of confused about the nature of your relationship, the intensity of feelings that could have come on very quickly within this person for you, and people that might have encouraged them to sort of back off, take their time, sort of test your loyalty, or not move so quickly into a more clear and direct relationship with you, that it feels like has only caused like unnecessary confusion within you. It's created delays within the situation, and they're having a lot of guilt and shame about that, because it feels like a very deliberate and something that might have been very contrary to their nature as far as how the way this person loves in general, and what they were kind of compelled to do with you sort of early on in the connection. They've not sort of achieved the results that they would hoped. That it's a sense of almost like time has unnecessarily been kind of passed in the situation in the form of like conscious delays, or sense of moving very deliberately and slowly. And there's an essence of like, they want you more than ever now, but they have been certain almost from like the moment that they met you or very early on that there's something very compelling about you, something more than meets the eye, something that the nature of their feelings are unlike what they've known before, or that this was something between the two of you, like the chemistry, the potential, everything that you kind of revealed about yourself early on to them had told them, like they almost didn't listen to their own intuition that encouraged them to be more direct, be more open, be more proactive, be more consistent. And instead they listened to the advice of people who, even in a well-meaning way, might have been like, remembering kind of when this person had their heart broken before, and even trying to sort of give them advice about just sort of taking their time, moving slowly. And it feels to be something where they're no longer wanting to seek advice from others. They're really now in a place of like listening to themselves above all else as far as what the next steps they take towards you are. Whether this is some kind of deep heart-to-heart conversation that is long overdue, that they are wanting to provide you with, or something where, they may need to come back around and sort of apologize for their conduct up to this point in time, or just steps they may be taking forward from this point if there's been no dissonance between the two of you, where they're moving in a more autonomous fashion. not really seeking the advice or, the thumbs up from sort of friends and family, but moving more into a place of like, this is my decision. This is the person that I choose to be with. And you're either going to accept them, or there's a distance between the two of us then that starts to build because I'm following my heart. We have had many lifetimes together. So again, it's almost like love at first sight kind of energy, something within them that might have been almost like a deja vu, or resonated at like a core level. Like, I know you from somewhere. Something about your energy, your presence, the way they feel inside when they are near you, when they think about you, when they talk about you. This isn't just puppy love. This isn't just infatuation. This isn't limerence or obsession. This is an energy of almost like their soul has found its home, its match, its mate. They may consider you even to be like their other half, the one, their soulmate, their twin flame, the person that they are wanting to kind of very proactively sort of not allow just sort of inaction to sort of dim the potential between the two of you. But this is almost like feeding everything they have into enhancing and strengthening the bond that they share with you, because there's almost a sense of like within themselves that even in your journeys in life, up until the point where you've encountered one another, that this is almost like a hard road to get to the point where you found one another. That you're somebody that is showing them a very different face of love that starts with how they are feeling inside about themselves. They don't feel trapped by you in this situation. They feel very free to kind of remain in their independence and their autonomy, which may be very different from things that they've experienced with other partners. And so there's a sense of almost like you've come into their life at just the right time, almost like a guardian angel sort of energy, or like a godsend. You're here to kind of help this person learn to believe in love again, or learn to kind of open up to the love within themselves as being kind of worthwhile to offer in an uninhibited way to another person. And there's a sense of like feeling that you may always kind of come in across the course of lifetimes, or you encounter one another almost as like at a period of reward, or like it's time to experience the richness of what love can be, as like an anecdote to all kind of the lessons, all of the suffering, all of the brokenheartedness. And so this feels like something where they're very motivated to do what it takes in order to create more certainty, more reassurance between the two of you. And they also say, I'm thinking of you right now. So you may be feeling this person's energy around you. Any signs and synchronicities that pop up, it feels like for the duration of this reading, can be that confirmation for you about the person on your mind. But this is something where they're not wanting to let any more time pass. They're not wanting to let any more delays happen, external or internal. There's a sense of certainty that this circumstance between the two of you is rare. There's a window of opportunity that they may be sensing, even if they just don't want to let you slip through their fingers. So where there may have been kind of like hesitation, or almost like they had applied some sort of strategy that others might have coached them on, sort of like, don't give too much too early, don't be fully invested, don't put all your eggs in the one basket of this person, take a different approach than you have in love and romance before, which it feels like was very necessary for them to kind of make sure for themselves that they weren't just kind of falling into the same patterns that they may have worked very hard to kind of disconnect from. But then there's a sense of almost like they didn't need to take as long as they did in this situation, or now that you've kind of reached this place with one another, or a sense of certainty within themselves of like, okay, you are a safe person for me. My heart is safe with you. I'm safe to be seen as myself. It's almost kind of like no longer from this point in time getting that feedback necessarily in terms of like asking other people, well, what do you think about this? How should I handle this circumstance? It's like taking control of the situation and letting their heart guide them forward. They also say trust in the infinite possibilities. So it feels like they're planning something big as far as maybe a declaration of love, or something that lets you know kind of how much you mean to them, what their intentions are for the future. And so it feels like they may be very sort of scattered within their mind, all of the different ways that they could have this conversation, make this gesture, make it clear to you, and make known their intentions or their feelings towards you. Scripting and rehearsing different kind of possible scenarios, both the the wonderful things and how it could work out, and also the ways in which they're kind of fearful of like, well, what if I'm rejected? What if I'm misunderstood? What if it just sort of, I mess something up that should be a very kind of precious and sacred experience or moment. And so it feels like there's a lot of like overthinking at this particular point in time, but it doesn't necessarily feel to be primarily fear-based. It's almost sort of like, what do I do in order to let this person know how sacred they are to me? How much I deeply feel and resonate with them at a core level beyond who I am as a human being, but like as a soul, you make sense to this person. They also say, I can't stop spying on you. Yeah, so they're watching you on social media if you've kind of gone quiet with one another, if there's some distance, especially if they're thinking about kind of planning their next move. They may have like withdrawn into themselves at this particular point in time just to kind of, reflect on sort of other romantic situations that in their past, kind of how they proactively sort of operated in those circumstances, things that they would have done better or that they wish they had done that might have kind of yielded different results. It feels like in this circumstance with you, it's like making up for everything that they convinced themselves was kind of like shows of romance that would have denoted like a weakness within. There's a sense of wanting to not hold back with kind of showing you vulnerability in the sense of, here's the light and shadow within me. Will you have me as I am? Here's all that I am capable of, as far as like demonstrating love, affection, loyalty, determination to make the situation work, no matter the obstacles or the difficulties that you may be facing personally or in relation to one another even, and the dynamic between the two of you. And there's a sense of almost trying to learn you very precisely to not just bring forth, kind of like an average or like a flimsy sort of declaration, but something that really kind of speaks to who you are as a person, to your personality, to the things that matter, so that there's almost a sense of you feeling reassured that these are not just empty words, but like an action of love is that they have taken the time to get to learn you and to like get to know you, and that is not something where it was just like gathering information in order to be able to kind of manipulate you emotionally, but it's almost the sense of they're fascinated by you as a person. They feel so much core resonance. It's almost like aspects of you help to decipher aspects of themselves that may have been difficult to kind of find space for or find acceptance for within, or things that they hadn't even kind of looked at within themselves from like an angle of positivity or value. Things within you have helped to sort of shift their perspective about themselves to where they are now able to kind of create more self-love than was the case previously. And so there's a sense of wanting to kind of almost show you a deep gratitude and appreciation, but almost kind of make sure that there's a constancy to the flow of reciprocity between the two of you. Even if some days it's, one person's pulling like 80% of the weight and the other person's pulling 20, it's almost like wanting to have like a constancy in that give and take, wanting to kind of pick up the slack when and where they can, and deep gratitude they have for like the times where you've really held the space for them, with other things that they may have had going on, or especially if it's like they're overthinking or are somebody who is prone to overthink or maybe like has anxiety, that you've been very patient with them. You've wordlessly just sort of gone with the motions of this, not as like a doormat, but as somebody that they recognize has like a deep empathic bond. You feel one another beyond the requirement of words. They also say it's hard for me too. So any kind of silence, disconnect, distance, anything within your personal life or their personal life that has created delays in the situation, even fears that had kind of caused them to sort of seek out in a very kind of extensive fashion, like the opinions of other people, friends and family. Like they may have kind of naturally sort of spoken about you in the situation and asked for people's feedback, but it feels like they kept going back to people and sort of like, well, what do you think? Do you think it's still okay? Do you think is it time? Almost kind of creating a third energy within this circumstance. It may have led to a lot of heaviness between the two of you in the past, like a lot of eyes on this situation because they themselves were almost sort of uncertain about what they had to bring to the table, or if the situation between the two of you is trustworthy, kind of fearing like, is this the real deal, or is this kind of another all that glitters isn't gold circumstance as I have dealt with in my past. And so there's a lot of regret that they've put the situation through that test. Anything as far as like miscommunication or times where they've just kind of abruptly sort of closed off, energetically speaking, because of fears, because of overthinking. There's a desire here to make an effort in the opposite direction, to kind of go against every instinct to pull away and to instead give to you in this situation. They also say, I've never been so sure I want you in my life. So they are determined to take action steps that bring you clarity, bring you peace of mind, bring you certainty about what they hold in their heart space for you, what they envision the future between the two of you looking like, and maybe even any plans as far as what they have kind of decided or are sort of putting together at this point as far as how you can make the circumstance between the two of you work based on the circumstances that exist individually for you currently, and then opening up space to kind of co-create and sort of blend your ideas with one another as far as what the future will be defined as between the two of you. And we also have, always remember that we are part of the divine plan, connected always in love, compassion, and spiritual truth. Together we are one within the cosmic web of unconditional love and blissful serenity. When we ascend, we are enlightened to the meaning of our souls. So they definitely see you as that higher love, that person that can provide them that divine love that their heart has always been craving, that they have sought in the company of other people, and everyone has fallen short. This is a person, it feels like, who is habitually lonely, even within relationships, because nobody's ever really understood them or taken the time to understand them as a soul, beyond kind of the 3D and just their sort of mundane personality, or even sort of some of the deeper layers beyond the threshold of the surface. It's almost like the deep waters within this person. Nobody's dared to explore that before. Nothing within another person that they've encountered has made them feel comfortable with opening up to let anyone in that close. But with you, there's almost a sense of you are that safe space. You are that kind of voyager that can be trusted, sort of going into sort of the rough parts of this person, or the fearful parts of this person, the hopeful parts of this person, and not judging them, not manipulating them, not kind of seeking to sort of change or alter them in any way. But you've been very, very self-accepting, very encouraging, very authentic in how you have honored yourself, but also honored this person up to this point in time, which is encouraging them to kind of let you in closer than they've ever let anyone before. They also say, please forgive me, I know I was wrong. So this again ties back to the idea of any sort of like vetting out of the situation, testing you, testing your loyalty, the opinions of other people that may have sort of weighed heavily as far as their decisions to say certain things or not say certain things. They may have felt inclined at like earlier periods in time in your dealings with one another to be more open and honest with you, or to take the situation to the next level. And there could have been people, again, like well-meaning within their life that just didn't want to see this person, this loved one, or this friend get hurt. But it's almost like they weren't the one with the feelings. They weren't the one in the circumstance. And so they may have given advice to kind of err on the side of caution and hold back, which it feels like maybe on one specific occasion, or just in general, there's almost a sense of this person feeling like we should be further along with one another than we are at this point. I shouldn't have had to make you wait. I should have trusted my own instincts, and I didn't listen to that. I again sought kind of the advice of other people who they don't feel what I feel. They don't know you the way that I do. They don't understand this situation. And so they can only speak from an observer's stance. And so there's an essence here of like a lesson that was learned that is motivating this person to become more of an active participant in your bond with one another. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name for you or this person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got I, M, B, I, A, T, R, V, C, P, U, G, T, H, U, and S. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 3. Chose the aragonite. So let's see, what does your person want you to know right now from their higher self? We have be the best that you can be. So this person may be working up the courage to put the best foot forward to you, to announce feelings that they have for you that have been building inside for quite a while. They may be working up the courage to make amends or issue an apology to you for behavior in the past that might have caused a circumstance of separation or no contact. There's a sense of trying to kind of almost do a quick cleanup within their life, or kind of within sort of any lack mentality that they may have had, like fearing that the love that they have to give is not good enough or not worthy of you, and starting to really recognize that you've magnetized each other into your lives because like attracts like. So they may have put you up on a pedestal for a period of time that could have caused them to sort of lean into almost the idea of like, well, this person's too good for me on an emotional level, or maybe you're living very different lives, or they're kind of in a dark place in their life, feeling like I don't have much to offer this person. They may have had like a track record of sort of breaking hearts or disappointing people. Someone who may give off a very like alluring first impression. They may draw a lot of attention to them, but then it feels like historically within romances, it's almost like once that initial sort of bubble love phase kind of wore off, then people would become very annoyed with them, or sick and tired of them, or it would sort of dissolve into like a very toxic interaction and situation. And so there was almost a sense that they have held a lot of themselves back from you out of like a fear of rejection. They're working up the courage and the reassurance that like you see who they are as a person, you're different from other people that they have known or that they've dated previously, and so there's an enthusiasm about kind of giving this connection, giving this romance the opportunity to kind of blossom into the fullness of what it can be, feeling that they themselves kind of blossom into a more full or complete version of themselves when they are with you, when they are interacting interacting with you. And so there's a sense of almost like not wanting to hold themselves back, not wanting to risk sort of the potential to connect very deeply with you or reconnect very deeply with you out of like a fear of failure, or not living up to your expectations of like what you're looking for in love, or who they are as a person truly beyond like the first impression that you've had of them. They also say, look inside yourself. So again, some kind of like introspection that's happening at this particular point in time. It feels like they are confronting their inner critic, which has caused them to be hesitant and guarded with you in the past, because there was a fear of like, you're not going to like who you see beyond the mask. Most people don't. Most people, get annoyed or have manipulated me previously, or, I get my hopes up only to have my heart broken, and those hopes are dashed. And so there's a sense of almost like confronting that part of them that says it's easier to just sort of keep their feelings to themselves, or to remain in the shadows, or to continue to try and like play the role of who they think you want them to be, even if that means kind of remaining at a distance because they're not feeling good enough. There's a sense of almost like breaking down some sort of wall between the two of you by kind of tunneling out from where a better part of them has existed on the inside. There's a sense of wanting to take risks in this situation in order to show you kind of more of the fullness of who they are, seeing that you are worthy of knowing them on a deep core level, that this connection, this potential between the two of you, or what you had in the past, is worth the effort to sort of resurrect that, or to continue to kind of feed into that very kind of beautiful energy between the two of you, so that this doesn't just turn out to be a loss, but is something where they are really ready to open and expand and explore and receive and experience the fullest potential in this situation between the two of you without hesitation. They also say trust. So there's a sense of almost like building up their trust within themselves, that they are worthy of your love, that they are the person who can stand by you and evolve with you and grow with you, no matter what challenges the two of you may face. If there's already been challenges in this situation, they're trusting kind of an urge within them to not just leave this as unfinished business, to not walk away permanently from you, to not miss an opportunity to be the one standing by your side. There's a deep desire to resume contact with you, to try to rebuild trust between the two of you, to show up in all the ways that they have not done in this situation up to this point in time, or that they've not done for anyone in a while in romance or ever in romance. So they may be getting ready to kind of be open the door to a pathway of vulnerability that has not been tread by anybody else before. This could be somebody that almost kind of has a very secret self, very self-protective energy. They've preserved like a softness within them, or like a very kind of like a vault of love inside of themselves, that it may have been like people who didn't understand who they were, rejected them at a core personality. It's almost like they've held the best of them away. Nobody has kind of been able to sort of walk through many of the nuanced layers of who this person is, or how they present to the world, to reach that kind of center of who they truly are. So far, you are somebody who has touch them more deeply on an emotional level than anyone else has. They know that you are not somebody who would take advantage of them, of their kindness, of the way that they love, of who they are as a person, or what they have to offer. That you're somebody that respects them. You respect them as a human being. Even if there's been kind of distance or struggle or strife between the two of you, you've always moved with tact and decorum. You've always kind of honored this person as an individual, which it feels like is very different from people they've experienced in the past. And it's something which is encouraging them to kind of bridge the gap between the two of you, rebuild the connection if that is necessary, or to take steps to kind of further what you have with one another. If they've been guarded up to this point in time, they've been a little bit reserved, maybe sort of subtle or giving mixed signals. This is somebody who's wanting to provide more clarity about their intentions, how they see you in the future, what they envision as kind of being possible, and what they are wanting to kind of give to the circumstance in order to help the two of you grow into more of a place of alignment with one another. They also say, I can't wait to love you. So again, this is somebody that sees that their heart is safe with you, who they are as a person, and even their kind of most vulnerable place, the side of them that they have hidden from others because it has been rejected, and whatever kind of surface aspects of this have been shown to others. There's a substantial part of like what makes this person who they are that nobody has known. And so there's a fear of opening up, but there's also the sense of like, I don't want to miss the opportunity to connect with somebody so deeply in a way that I know I will never get another chance in this lifetime to experience. The idea of creating partnership with you, of intimacy, of closeness, of even just staring into one another's eyes with a sense of deep core knowing that goes beyond words is something that is very tantalizing and is magnetizing this person to you or back into your life. They also say, cutting fake people out of my life. So again, this is the idea of like a quick cleanup within their circumstances and their reality, tying up loose ends or creating distance or disconnecting altogether from people that have only sort of brought unnecessary drama or, kind of encouraged only a wounded version of this person to be part of that dominant personality. People who have been threatened by efforts that they have made in the past to sort of move in a more individuated way. People that have become very triggered by any sort of healing or personal growth that they have done. And they may have kept them around as it for the sake of like, well, their family or their long-term friends or, things of that nature. It's almost a sense of prioritizing their peace over personal relationships, and kind of people that don't encourage or celebrate sort of the blossoming of this person. That those are individuals that there's distance that's created or a complete kind of silence within those circumstances where once they may have allowed a lot or participated with those situations just because of, again, like a sake of history that they have shared with certain individuals. This also feels like this is something where, if they had kind of maybe they had like exes or even like situationships, people that they knew kind of had romantic interests that were like flirting with them, and they'd had kind of like casual dialogues with these individuals or kept the lines of communication open. For some, they may be cutting off those lines of communication altogether, or establishing kind of a new paradigm of boundaries between themselves and these other individuals, to where they're almost like wanting to make sort of their social strata something that will not elicit jealousy or concern within you, but something where, if you were to kind of peruse the nature of the people that they interact with, that there's nothing that would almost like bring out sort of a triggering of anything you've experienced as far as infidelity with people in your past, or juggling multiple options, or making you feel like, is this individual just want a situationship? Am I just going to be discarded when something better comes along? It's a sense of almost like cutting out anything that might kind of give the wrong impression, as far as like they only have eyes for you, or they're wanting to create more exclusivity. They're wanting to make you feel very seen, very appreciated, and very prioritized. And so one of the ways it feels like is kind of cleaning up the nature of their social interactions, or just people that have like open access to them at this point. I also say, I am seeing through the illusions. So this is somebody, it feels like, who may have been deeply craving for like love and intimacy and partnership, but pushed that away when it has been offered. Somebody who has habitually kind of just settled into sort of lukewarm circumstances, maybe a lot of trauma bonds or kind of toxic or low vibrational connections that they've entertained in their past, because there's a part of them that felt this is all that I am worthy of, because the really good parts of who they are, kind of the high quality aspects of themselves, nobody that they've encountered romantically at this point in time has kind of held enough space for sort of the maybe almost like a rocky road that it takes to reach that sort of top of the mountain, that beautiful vista and view in terms of like what they're capable of as a person, who they really are beyond just sort of like the surface level qualities and characteristics of their reputation, what they do for a living, how much money they have or make, kind of things where they may have encountered a lot of people that just sort of use them as a stepping stone to sort of further themselves, further their reputation, further their careers. They may have attracted people that just sort of use them for their money as well. And this is something where it was reflective of almost kind of like a lack mentality within, not feeling that they could ever find anyone who would truly see and appreciate them as an individual, but only people that would just sort of be around because they could provide something. And so there's a sense here that you are somebody very different than that. Your priorities are different. Your goals are different. Your values are different. The way you look at the world and interact with the world is different. How you have interacted with them, what you've shown, what you've demonstrated, what you've given, even if that's giving this person space, it's much different than anything that they've encountered before. And so there's a lot of regret if they had sort of compared you to other situations, or just sort of improperly assumed that you were maybe like other people that they had dealt with that were very maybe materialistic, or wouldn't be able to have kind of the range of depth within you to be able to meet them on those deeper levels as well. They also say, I often sing to you when you're not here. Pay attention to songs that stand out to you. They are a message from me. So song lyrics could be something very important between you and this person, like in this connection with one another. This person could be like musically inclined. They could be a songwriter or a poet, or you have brought this out of them. Something where they are deliberately kind of choosing to invest their thoughts and energy in romance, rather than like sad songs or breakup songs, or, songs of despair that might have been kind of like the nature of what they had gravitated towards. This is almost somebody who is looking for sort of music or media that is more hopeful and optimistic, inspiring as far as love is concerned, rather than kind of just a perpetuation of misery. This is almost the sense of like you've brought the sun out within this person at a soul level. You are inspiring them towards creative things, or when they think of kind of like storybook romance, or the kind of love they dreamed of when they were younger that they couldn't find in their sort of journey through life, they have encountered you, and it's like all those kind of sweet feelings are now possible in a very realistic sense. They also say, I want to share the rest of my life with you. I'm ready to build a happy and secure family together. So this is, again, somebody that has like long range plans for you for this situation. They're wanting to accelerate beyond the present circumstances you find yourselves in, or to redeem themselves, to make a way back into your life, so that the two of you can pick up where you left off and try to repair any sort of emotional damage that has occurred on either end in this circumstance, so that the future between the two of you can be something brighter, rather than kind of just the memory of what if or what could have been. This is somebody that it feels like they don't want to waste any more time or hesitate in kind of doing what it takes in order to open up more within themselves as a person in terms of what they show, what they demonstrate, how they express their love, and also remaining open in order to receive a deeper manifestation of how you've endeavored or attempted to give them love in the past that they may have been very closed off to, very triggered by, very fearful of. They also say, I feel at home with you. We belong together. So this person knows that you are their other half. You are their perfect complement. You are the yin to their yang, or the yang to their yin. A soulmate, twin flame, you're their counterpart, whatever it is that you resonate with, maybe no title at all. You're their person. You're the one. You feel different in a most wonderful way from anyone that they have ever known and encountered. They feel like the best version of themselves when you are around. It's not even just kind of the feelings that they have directed towards you. It's almost like you help this person feel better about themselves, more accepting about their past or the present circumstances, how it is that they love, what it is that they require as far as love from another person. It feels to be something that they are trying to almost become very fluent in your love language. If there are any kind of differences in how that might manifest, like the love language between the two of you, it's a sense of almost like you help them to expand and grow as a person in terms of their capacity to express love and also receive love. This is somebody who has up-leveled very substantially in the time since you've been together, and if there's any separation, certainly within the time that you've been apart, it feels like this person has made a quantum leap in terms of where they were at as far as like guardedness or hesitation or uncertainty versus how they are looking in a more expansive way towards what they would like to happen between the two of you, or that they feel is kind of like possible to develop and grow from this point forward. So let's get some initials. This can be a first, middle, or last name for you or your person, or can spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. We've got T, F, E, Y, J, P, G, O, W, M, F, R, E, D, I, L, O, A, Q, T, and X. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link to that in the description box of the video. I offer a variety of pre-recorded video readings, written readings, and channeled letters. Turnaround time on everything is 5 to 7 days from the time of purchase. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.